Hi, so I'm Donna, and I have Sam Mattera with me today from California, who's going to tell us all about his long COVID journey and how he's 90 to 95% recovered now. And we want to know all about it. So, hi, Sam. Thanks for joining me today.
Hey, nice to be here. Nice to talk to you.
Great. Thank you for being here. So, tell us all about, how long COVID started for you. Yeah, just give us a bit about your story.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, when COVID first broke out in 2020, my wife was pregnant with a high risk pregnancy, so I was very terrified of catching COVID because I was afraid I was gonna spread it to her and it was gonna affect our baby or something like that. So we were very careful early on in the pandemic. And then, that kind of passed. We had the kid. Then, the vaccine came out, things opened up. And I thought, okay, if I get the vaccine, I'll be fine. Like I won't catch, they're saying you won't catch COVID or whatever. So I got vaccinated, but then I went to a friend's wedding a few months after that. I caught COVID from my mom. I thought, oh, this is not going to be a big deal. But immediately, as soon as I got sick, I lost my sense of taste and smell. It never came back. Even I would say right now I'm about 95% recovered, and that includes, unfortunately, my smell and taste. It's still not fully back. It's gotten better. I can talk about some of the treatments I've tried there. But so that was like my first experience with this. Other than that, though, I had no other symptoms. It was just like, hey, I feel normal. I just can't really smell or taste as well anymore. This is kind of weird. And then a year later, I caught COVID again. After that, I started to have some like heart problems. I would just be at work and my chest would just start beating and I didn't know what it was. Like at the time I had started using creatine and I thought, oh, maybe I'm having a bad reaction or I'm drinking too much alcohol or maybe I'm just too stressed out at work. And like, this is, but then a few months after that, I caught COVID a third time and I got really sick. At that point, that's kind of where I got like the chronic fatigue set in, a lot of body pain. That the chest pain was really, really bad in the beginning. That's actually the third time I had COVID, I went to the ER because I thought I was having a heart attack. So I went to the emergency room and I remember the ER doctor was like, no, this could be, something that happens. Like it happened to me for 6 weeks after I had COVID. I just had this bad chest pain. Like, I think you're fine, but I don't really know what to do for you. So at that point, I kind of dug in and I started to read about long COVID and figured it out and heard about all this stuff. And yeah, I had, like body pain. I had so many symptoms. At one point I had like a journal where I just kind of got obsessed with writing down my symptoms. And I don't know how helpful that was, but in a way it's kind of helpful for me now to look back on it because I feel like some of the symptoms I've even just forgot about. And I have to read my journal, but oh yeah, that's what happened to me. So I had, yeah, like my vision got weird and I would have stabbing pain in different parts of my body. My hands would go numb. My feet would go numb. My shoulder started to hurt really bad. My right shoulder started to hurt bad. I would get these like fatigue type crashes where I'd be doing okay. And then all of a sudden it was like I just got hit by a bus and I'd have to go lay down for like a day. And yeah, I would have chest pain like all day, rapid heart rate, like so many different symptoms.
Mhm.
But then that was probably 2023 was like the year where I was the sickest and I was still working, but like I couldn't really do anything besides work. I would just kind of work and then I would come home and I'd have to lay on the couch. And I would have to, on the weekends, I would just be like laying in bed or laying on the couch trying to recover. And I felt bad for my wife because at this point we had the kid. And so she kind of had to do the parenting by herself.
Mhm.
And it was tough. And I had to cancel like my vacations that year. I had to cancel those. And, really it was basically just like trying to survive and working. And that was my whole year of 2023. And then 2024, I kind of started to get better. And at the beginning of this year, I had kind of a setback, 2025 in January, where I got really sick again and I started to get afraid. I was like, oh no, am I going to go back into a crash mode? But fortunately, it didn't last. It only lasted about a month or two. And then since April, I all of a sudden am just like 95% better. And it's just gotten better and better. And nowadays, I mean, the symptoms that I still have is I'll still have like occasionally, I think if you have long COVID, that kind of weird fatigue that sets in. Some people don't even like the word fatigue, but it kind of feels like you're like, this doesn't feel right. Like I don't feel like tired. Like I feel kind of sickly, and that
Mm.
will hit me maybe once a month for about an hour out of nowhere. But it used to like take me down for a whole day. So it's like I feel it very rarely, and then my chest pain is all gone away. My hand, I don't have any more hands issues, no more numb, none of that stuff. The smell and taste, like I said, is still kind of impacted, but for the most part, I mean, I feel more or less normal every day.
Wow, that's incredible to hear, isn't it? When you think how many symptoms long COVID can present us with sometimes and how many we have to deal with on a daily basis. And for you as well. I mean, I had it with grown up children where they were, they could take care of themselves, but to have long COVID with a young newborn, I can't even imagine what that was like. So, well done for getting through that, and to your lovely wife as well for coping through that. So when you talk about your symptoms now, would you say that some of them have completely healed and you've got rid of a lot of the symptoms, or which ones have you managed to treat or overcome?
Yeah, I mean the shoulder pain for a long time was excruciating. I had this really bad pain in my right shoulder, and I wasn't ever really sure. I spent time dealing with all these doctors, and one of them said, "Oh, you have this thing called Parsonage-Turner syndrome, which is when you have an autoimmune attack kind of on the nerve." And another one, I think this was consistent in my long COVID experience. Like you talk to so many doctors, and one person tells you one thing, and someone else tells you the other. And another doctor would say, "Oh no, it's just, it's just work with a physical therapist." And so I did that for a while. Eventually, the pain just kept bothering me for a solid year. I ended up having surgery on the shoulder because they found like a tear, and I've been a weightlifter my whole life, so it's not clear like when it even tore. But the guy was like, "Well, we can go in, we can repair it. It might help." So they went in, they repaired my shoulder. I was in a sling for a couple months. It healed up, and like the pain was still kind of there. And I'm like, I don't really know if the surgery actually fixed it. Maybe it helped a little bit, like, but then the pain just kind of went away with all my other symptoms too. And there was a point where like I couldn't even, and it's something I forgot a minute ago, but as I'm talking about it, I'm remembering like I had a hard time driving my car because if I put my shoulder down on the seat, I would have too much excruciating pain. So that's like something that's just kind of gone now. So that was a symptom that went away. The chest pain, like I said, I used to have like stabbing. It felt like someone was like stabbing a knife into my chest, and it would last for hours. And yeah, I told you I went to the ER one time. I think I thought about going to the ER again. At some point, I just had to be like, there's nothing wrong with you. No one knows. No one has a solution. You just kind of have to suck it up. But that was very, and then I would get, I would get these symptoms, and then I would think, man, I'm going to have a heart attack. Like this is bad. And it was just, it would ruin my whole day. It would just be hard to focus on anything else. And so though that has gone away, like I said, the fatigue has lifted. I kind of had like I would have the crashes, and then I would also have like a background fatigue where like I just didn't feel totally good. That's gone away. Like I said, the body pain, the right shoulder is notable, but I would have like, it was just, I described it to my one doctor as like this long tail of symptoms where like every day I was going to experience something new. And I don't know, it would be like, throwing the dice. It's like, oh, today I'm going to have stabbing pain in my left abdomen. Okay. And like the next day it'd be like, oh, my toe is going to throb. And then the next day it'd be like, oh, my vision is kind of off.
Yeah.
And, those have all gone away. So,
Yeah.
at this point, yeah, I mean, I would say that I probably had 50 different symptoms, and the vast majority of them are gone.
That's incredible. So do you think you can sort of pinpoint anything that you did in particular that may have helped eliminate those symptoms?
Yeah, I mean, I tried. So, I mean, for me, the fortunate thing is I have really great health insurance, and I make a decent amount of money. So I was fortunate to try, like, a lot of people are not in that position, so they can't really access, medical experiments. But I did, and I thought, I got to take care of my family, so I'll just try everything. So I tried all kinds of alternative treatments. I tried, ketamine. I tried all kinds of different supplements. At one point, I had one of my coworkers was going to Hong Kong, and I said, "Hey, I heard about this probiotic in Hong Kong. Can you go get it for me and mail it to me?" And so she shipped me like a $700 box of probiotic from Hong Kong, and I'm like taking that, and it's like written Mandarin or Cantonese on the label. And I tried all this stuff. I tried like NAC, and you just go down the list of like all these supplements. And
Yeah.
to be honest, I don't know if any of it worked, but the one thing is that I think, like, I started LDN. That was what the Stanford long COVID clinic gave me. I think that might have helped a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was I tried Maraviroc, which is the Bruce Patterson thing. I tried that. I talked to one of Bruce Patterson's guys, and I think that might have helped me too. And then other than that, for my smell, I went to, there's a doctor at Stanford who does, Dr. Patel. She does injections of blood. Basically, they draw your blood and they distill it down and they inject it up your nose, and it kind of helps your nose heal. So I did that. I think that helped my smell and taste a little bit. Like I said, didn't come back all the way.
Yeah.
But those things I think were helpful. But
Yeah.
as always, it's like, I don't know if did this work. Was it random chance? I'm not sure. But
Yeah.
I think the process of doing it, it was like, I feel like I need to do something. Like, I need to try, what other choice do I have? I don't want to just like lay around. So yeah, I
Yeah.
tried all these things, and I think if anything helped, it was maybe those, but
Hmm.
I'm not totally sure.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because there's a lot of people trying those sorts of things already, not knowing if they're going to help them or not. They're in the early stages, especially LDN. I hear about that a lot. It wasn't something that I took because it wasn't really known back when I was really bad in 2020. No one knew anything. There was no help at all, and no one trying anything. So it's very difficult. But LDN has helped a lot of people now. So was there something in particular that you tried? Because I know that you tried a lot of treatments, that didn't help. Is there something out there that you would really say to people, just don't go near that? It didn't help at all.
Um, I didn't. Oh, I tried the. I mean, I could talk a lot about like all the different things. I did the stellate ganglion block at
Did you?
Stanford. Yeah, I did. And I remember it actually brought my heart symptoms back. It made them worse. And at this point, and I don't want to turn people off. Like, I always want to asterisk everything I say, because I have another friend who gets the SGB done like once a month, and it makes her feel better. So it's just like, I mean, we're all different, I think.
Yeah.
And you got to find whatever works for you. Some people, nothing. But I did it, and at this point, I told you I kind of recovered from my heart symptoms. So I thought, okay, this is past me. The heart symptoms are gone. And I'm
Mm,
like, but I still can't really smell and taste. I'll try this SGB. Maybe that'll help that. And
mm,
like, my heart symptoms came back, and they were really bad for like a solid week or two. And I thought, I guess this is the consequence. Like, you take a risk. Sometimes you're going to have to live with the consequences.
yeah.
And, maybe you hurt yourself. But fortunately, it didn't last. I think it was probably whatever they injected in me, I probably had some reaction to, which probably caused my heart symptoms to come back. Eventually it passed, but that was kind of scary. And yeah, I tried so many supplements. I don't think any of them really helped. I tried like probiotics at one point. I feel like that was actually making my hands I tried, it was called seed probiotic, which some people in the long COVID space talk about, and it made my like hands more numb. My hands would get really cold, and I'm like, oh. And I started to look online and like, well, actually, you have this your stomach has different nerve endings, and so the probiotics can inflame those. And I'm like, oh,
Mm,
maybe that made my hands numb. But it's hard to say. It's like, you don't know. Like, unfortunately we're in this bad spot where we kind of have to be science experiments on ourselves.
yeah.
So I'm not always like, hey, try everything, because you don't know. You just have to kind of make a judgment call on your own, and we're all taking a risk, and it's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
Um,
So do you feel that it was really sort of time for you and maybe a mixture, a combination of lots of things you were doing? Or would you say, to anyone out there who's got similar symptoms to you, was there, would you say, give LDN a go because you noticed the changes after you started taking that? Or, was there something specifically, or would you just say it's just your body got rid of inflammation over time and, with the fatigue, what helps you? I'm just trying to find those little things that people might help other people with similar symptoms to you.
Yeah, I mean, I do think time definitely helped. Like I was someone who kind of gradually, um, I remember there was a period where the third month, I think I told you at the beginning of 2023 is when I got the sickest. And then after the third month, I started to feel like, okay, maybe I'm better. And I remember I had like a day or two where I felt like pretty normal. And then the next week I was sick again, and I was sick for a couple months. And then so I kind of was on this wave, but I knew I was kind of gradually improving over time. And then, like I said, probably the LDN did help. I do think the Moraviroc helped. And I do think, yeah, I mean, I do think just like the other thing was, and I noticed this for me, and it's very hard because I have little kids, so I can't totally avoid COVID. But for me, just avoiding reinfection, I think for like over a year, kind of gave my body space to heal more. I think in the beginning, one of the things that really upset me was, and this is where I started to be more talking about this stuff, was I saw a doctor who said like, oh, if you've caught COVID, you're protected from long COVID for at least another year if you catch it again. And my experience was obviously the opposite, where like I had COVID, I had it again 3-4 months later, and that's when I got really sick. So I saw this online and it just upset me. And I was like, okay, I got to tell people the story. So for me, it was like being very deliberate for a year, being very careful, making sure I did not get reinfected. And like I said, it's tough because I have kids and they're going around and stuff. But I think kind of giving my body time to heal helped. Oh yeah, the only other thing I wanted to talk about was like the mental health part of it too, because
huge.
A lot of people think, there's some people who say long COVID is just like a mental illness or something like that. It's obviously not. But I mean, I think if you have this experience, it's, hard on your mental health because it's very isolating. You're not getting help. Maybe you're getting disbelieved. Sometimes people get abandoned by their partners and their friends, and it's awful. And so I think having some mental health support can be helpful in that context. And I thought at some point in my journey, I was like, okay, I'm going to explore this as well. And maybe if I'm feeling better, that'll help me recover. So I never really sought any therapy or anything before at any point in my life. This was just not something I ever did. And so I was like, okay, I'll go and I'll look and I'll find resources. And again, it was like the first 5 therapists and doctors I saw in the space, I think were counterproductive, unfortunately. Like the first person was like, oh, all your symptoms are anxiety and let's just put you on SSRI. And I'm like, okay, this isn't it. And then the next person was like, oh, here, check out this website. And it was like an anti-vaccine conspiracy theory, COVID was a bioweapon type thing. And they're like, oh, check this out. And I'm like, I don't know about this either. And then I tried like CBT, and the woman's like, well, if you just work out and eat well, you can. Like, that's not it either. Like, I've always been a healthy person. And so I just had to keep searching. And finally, like the 5th one, I found someone who was actually an immunologist as well as someone who did therapy. So kind of understood this. And so that was a rare skill set, but I think finding that too was helpful, to give me, space to have that, work on that as well, along with the physical stuff. So, yeah. I mean, I think the advice that I have for anyone is like, just don't give up. Like, I don't know. Like I said, it was LDN and Moraviroc helped me. Is that going to help other people? Maybe, maybe not. But I think you just have to have the attitude of like, hey, I'm just going to keep trying things. I'm going to see what works. I'll try this. I always had an open mind. Like sometimes people will say, oh, I'm not going to try any pharmaceuticals. I only want natural products. Okay. I mean, I tried that. I tried supplements, I tried pills. Some people say, "Oh, I'm not going to do any of the meditation stuff, or I'm only going to do that. Or, like, I need to heal myself." I had a very open mind, and I
Yeah.
thought, I at the end of the day, I don't care. I just want to get better. Like, whatever it takes, I just want to be better. So I'll try anything. I'll approach it like, I don't know if this is actually going to work, but I'll try it anyway. And
Yeah.
that's the attitude that I just had. And I think, yeah, it was like, for me, it was, I knew I had to take care of my kids. And so I was like, I will keep fighting every day. I will try to find a way to get better.
Hmm.
This is probably the toughest thing I've ever gone through in my life, but I'm going to keep fighting and I'm not going to give up.
Yeah.
And I think it was just, if anything helped me, it was just kind of having that attitude of not quitting.
Yeah, that's amazing. It really resonates with me because I was exactly the same. I was told by a specialist here in London that I would never get better, and that people from ME, CFS, only 5% recover. And I just thought, oh, that's not me. That's not me. I've got to recover from this. This isn't me. And it's funny what you say about the mental health, because I've never suffered from mental health ever in my whole life. And long COVID brought that lovely gift to me. And I just didn't know what to do with that. And I didn't really, know how to treat it. Doctors only have one way of treating that, unfortunately. I didn't want to go down that route. Maybe I would have done later on, but I was so scared to do that because I thought it might make me worse as well. And eventually, I think the mental health side of long COVID is sort of like a vicious cycle, because long COVID can cause awful mental health as well. But I think one of the symptoms is mental health due to serotonin levels, maybe, we don't know. But that does balance itself out eventually as you get better. I don't have those issues. That completely disappeared for me. So, for people to understand as well that long COVID symptoms do include anxiety issues as well. So it's not that you're ill that's causing anxiety, the long COVID's causing it. And then it's sort of perpetuated, isn't it? So, that's something for people to understand as well. So it's really interesting you brought that up. So how do you feel now, your life, how are you coping now with your last 5% or 10% of long COVID? What does that look like for you on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I say like 95% because most days I would say I'm 100%. It's just, like I said, maybe a couple times a month, some symptom will pop up. Um, I got the flu shot last week, and I had a bit of a crash day afterward. And I'm at the point now where it's like, well, was that just, I mean, people get flu shots and they feel bad. Like, this is just part of the deal. Or was it part of my long COVID? Like, I don't know. Or, I'll feel a little bit off in a certain day and I'm like, well, was it long COVID? Or like, I have two young kids and my son was kind of up last night. So, it's kind of hard. It's like, I don't know if I don't want to say like I'm 100% back to normal, but I would say on a regular basis, like, I pretty much feel the same way I did 5 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Except for, like I said, the smell and taste, probably 90% there. But yeah, so I mean, like, in terms of my life, like, I don't know, I live pretty normally. The one thing I did was one of my symptoms was alcohol intolerance. So I used to be like a moderate drinker, and I remember as soon as I developed the second or third, episode of COVID, I lost the ability to drink alcohol, where I would drink it and I would have a couple sips of red wine. And again, that would set off my heart, or I would feel like just terrible, or I'd wake up in the middle of the night and my heart would be racing. And so I gave up alcohol. I don't know if I can still drink it again. I honestly haven't tried in almost a year. But that's like one, and I don't even think that that's necessarily a bad thing. I don't know if it's drinking is not probably good for your health in general. So my life has changed in that way. But I mean, I work out. I go everywhere. I don't kind of think about my health on a regular basis. I don't. I remember, like I said, having these days where my chest would hurt all day, and I would just be sitting and thinking about it, and that
Yeah.
never happens to me
Yeah.
anymore. So it's not like, the biggest thing for me is just I'm still paranoid about getting reinfected because of
Yeah.
my history. So that's kind of where it still impacts my life. And I can't, like I said, I have two kids, they go to school, I can't totally shield myself, but I try my best to avoid infection. I try to be, like stay outside, or, if I'm going into a crowded area, wear a mask, things like that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where long COVID is still kind of in my life. Like I'll never, until someone figures this out or something, like it'll still kind of be there, unfortunately. But when I think about a couple of years ago when I was feeling terrible, like I'm so much better today. Like I don't have that part of it. Definitely feels like it's over, at least for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's just so fascinating. And everything that you said, I completely resonate with, even to, worrying about catching COVID again, but being able to work out now, that's amazing. Because obviously I'm back at the gym now and completely normally working out, probably more than I was doing before I had long COVID actually now, because it's become a mental thing for me to be better and fitter than I was before. So I just love that for you. Best of luck with that last 5%. I know you'll get there. You come so far, and thanks so much for your insights. I'm sure people might have questions for you, so hopefully you'll be able to answer those. And please, everyone, follow me for more stories of people who have recovered from long COVID or feel like they're more or less recovered, and they can let you know what's helped them. Thank you.
Thank you.